So this is going to be my first attempt at something resembling like a reading vlog. Not sure how it's going to go, but we're going to try. So the book that I'm reading that I started 2 days ago, but I'm still only 14 pages in on, is The Most by Jessica Anthony. I got it for Christmas. Let me read the summary on the back. It's an unreasonably warm Sunday in November 1957. Kathleen, a college tennis champion turned Delaware housewife, decides not to join her husband, Virgil, and their 2 young boys at church. Instead, she takes a dip in the swimming pool at her family's apartment complex, and then she won't come out. Set over the course of 8 hours, The Most breaches the shimmering surface of a seemingly idyllic marriage, immersing us in the unspoken truth beneath. Okay, that's actually a refresher for me because I forgot what this book was about as I was reading it. So I'm 14 pages in. We're already like the that back plot of it essentially is like the first 14 pages of the book. So it opens with, it's a Sunday, they're getting up and they're going to church. We get a little bit of backstory on the family. I think they just moved to this specific area. They had sold their house, which is why they're living in an apartment complex at the moment. The husband has picked up a new job and they're essentially awake on a Sunday and trying to get ready to go to church. But she is like, hey, I don't feel well. I'm going to stay home today. So just the husband and their 2 sons, who are Nicholas and Nathaniel. I remember that because I remember how close the names were to sounding like each other. So yes, Nicholas and Nathaniel and their dad Virgil get ready and go to church. And now I'm at the point where they come back and she's in the pool in this red bathing suit and she doesn't want to come out. And keep in mind that it's November and they live in Delaware, which is Northeast America. And in November there, it is cold. Like, you're happy if you wake up and it's 45 or 50 degrees, but you're looking at like 40 degrees on those types of days. So it's cold. So naturally, all of the neighbors in the apartment complex are staring at her because why is this woman in our pool in November? Like, it's cold outside. So that's where I am in the book. I forgot that this kind of all unfolds over the course of one day. Honestly, this isn't a particularly long book. I just looked. It's about 133 pages. So truly, if I put my mind to it, I could honestly be done like tomorrow. So I'm going to get started and continue to provide updates throughout. I'm also currently trying to buy concert tickets. I'm not going to say who for it because it's kind of a surprise. I'm trying to buy concert tickets right now. And those go on sale in 15 minutes. And I'm not sure how bad it's going to be. My saving grace right now is that I'm really not trying to get front row. I'm not trying to get floor. I'm not trying to get anything down there. But when I looked at a line for a different sale, it was actually the cheap seats that went first. So now I'm like, okay, hopefully what I'm looking for, which is the higher range of cheap, is still available when I get in. So yeah, I'm gonna make myself some breakfast and get ready to buy my tickets. And if I'm able to focus, I might try to finish at least the first chapter and come back with an update then. Also, I want to start a reading journal this year, but I keep looking at these flip throughs for them. And I'm very intimidated by how some people are able to set theirs up. And I want mine to be pretty, but mine's not going to be that pretty. So I'm trying to find because what I want to do with my reading journal is essentially be able to just like scribble my thoughts about things, not really keep track of any statistics or reading lists or anything like specific like that. Like, I just want to be able to have like the title of the book and then for it to be after chapter 1 and like write down all of my thoughts, and after chapter 2 write down all of my thoughts, or after like certain chunks of chapters. I did this last year when I read Yellowface, except it was on my phone, and I just want to have like a more physical version of something like that. So I'm still trying to figure out what to do with my reading journal. Hopefully I'm able to start that, but for now I'm going to worry about getting my concert tickets and keep reading this book. Guess who's back after like 2 days and has only read one more chapter of the book. Me, but it's fine. Let's continue with updates. I'm going to try and keep this as not no spoilers. So I literally just got to chapter 3, so everything in this part is in the first 2 chapters, and I don't consider anything in the first 2 chapters of a book to be a spoiler. Okay, so I had been like partially through chapter 1 when I last came and gave an update, and now I have finished chapter 1. The remainder of chapter 1, which is this is told in like third person, but so far for each chapter, the narrator has kind of focused on either Virgil or Kathleen. So the first chapter focused on Virgil, and the remainder of that first chapter explains why their family suddenly went through all of these major changes in life, and that reason is he got drunk at a bar, cheated on his wife with the bartender, and felt guilty about it. So he stops drinking at that bar, comes home for family dinners now, says we're gonna start going to church. He eventually quits his job and is like, hey, we should move. So he can essentially leave that mistake behind. Which leads us into our second chapter, which is told mostly from Kathleen's perspective. And it follows her day from the time that her husband and her 2 sons leave for the church that her husband has demanded they start going to because he is a cheater. And I have notes. That's what I'm looking at. It follows her from then until she decides to get into the pool. So literally first sentence of the chapter, Kathleen is like, I'm pregnant. I know I am. So we find out that she's pregnant. And she's sick, like it seems like she has morning sickness, but she still gets up and goes through kind of like the household chores, laundry, dishes, that kind of thing. We learn about her family and her life in like high school and the beginning of college, basically pre-meeting Virgil. It sounds like she grew up fairly wealthy or just generally well off in suburban Delaware. I mean, all of Delaware is a suburb, but you get the point. And she started playing tennis in high school around like her sophomore year. And it sounds like she kind of had some kind of romantic relationship with her tennis instructor who was in college at the time. We must note, was in college at the time. And at the end of the chapter, the woman that Virgil cheated on Kathleen with calls their new residence, but she doesn't know his real name. She calls him Charlie. And Kathleen is like, you got the wrong address. And she hangs up. And then that's when she decides to get into the pool. My thoughts on these first 2 chapters, it's kind of like, apart from what we know from the back of the book, from the blurb, I don't know where this is going. I know that Kathleen gets into the pool and refuses to come out. I know that much. I just feel like because infidelity is often used, it's not necessarily like a gotcha moment or a twist or something like that. Because I feel as though as a reader, you can kind of feel when these things start to happen. I mean, any good writer is going to kind of put those cookie crumbs in the story for you to follow. So that way it makes sense when it comes to light. So it's not really supposed to be a gotcha, gotcha moment, but it is usually a big point of emotional contention. I just feel as though that's not going to be the case in this book because it was revealed in the first chapter. So I'm trying to figure out what other big secret can be revealed about the relationship between these 2 people. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm not going to do updates super often. I'm just going to see after I eat dinner how much more I can read for today. Also, update on my mission to get concert tickets yesterday. I did succeed, and it was the worst ticketing I've ever been a part of. But I'm going to keep reading and try to figure out what's going on because I'm not necessarily super entertained at this point, but I am intrigued. So I want to know what the buildup is, what the big reveal is, and what's going on. But yeah, more reading ahead in my future. I'm on page 101. There is not a lot happening right now. And on top of that, the things that are happening are not happening in the way that I anticipated things going down. So truly, I don't remember the last update that I gave. I think it was just covering chapters 1 and 2. My thoughts on kind of what has been revealed throughout this book so far. I feel like it's hard to determine what a spoiler is because I don't know what the ending is. So I don't know if what I'm saying is a spoiler or not. But I feel like mostly for this part, I'm not confused, but kind of surprised just because of how the author specifically chose to kind of go about this. Because based on the back of the book, I anticipated Kathleen gets in the pool and she doesn't want to get out. So I saw literally 80 to 90% of the book to take place like poolside, and for the flashbacks to come intermittently, like through the conversations that Virgil and Kathleen are having, and for it to work that way. Instead, each chapter is focused on either Kathleen or Virgil's perspective and what they're doing in the moment. So in chapter, what was it? 5, Virgil is golfing. And during Virgil's time golfing, we look back at kind of his first jobs and the basis of his relationship with Kathleen, how they got married and all that. And then in the 6th chapter, we are back in Kathleen's point of view, and we're going through the early years of their marriage and the super rundown house that they kind of had to fix up, not together. Kathleen did all the fixing up of the house. She cleaned it, that they had to fix up to be able to live in, and, all of these other different things. And then finally, for just a moment, we get them interacting together poolside, but then Virgil goes away again to not necessarily tend to their children, but to like kind of make sure they're not dead. Like they run across the courtyard into their apartment and there's no dinner being made because Kathleen has not gone out the pool all day, which I feel like is a bigger cause of concern. And he like goes upstairs to confirm that no dinner has been made. He puts his golf bag away. He tells the sons not to go anywhere, and then he goes back downstairs. I feel like he lacks a serious sense of urgency. And we know that Kathleen got in the pool because it was hot and she wanted to cool off, but that's all we know. Also, question, as someone up who lived up north, and this is just coming to my head now, why has the pool not been drained? Up north, we have to drain our pools because in the winter, when it starts to get cold, it will freeze, and the ice, whether it's one of the like plastic pools or an in-ground concrete pool, when it freezes, the ice expands. So essentially, if you have water in the pool, a significant amount of water in the pool, then the basin will crack. So we have to drain our pools up north. We have to drain them or cover them, etc., etc. So now this thought literally just came to my head. Why is there water in this pool in November in Delaware? That pool should be empty, no matter how hot it is. Cause yeah, it's gonna damage the pool. I only have 32 pages left. And then I might be able to give some more context at the end, because I'll be able to determine what is a spoiler to me or not. But this is not, it both is and is not the book I was expecting. It is the book I was expecting because I could have predicted kind of the turns that we're getting to. I feel like they're very common. But it's not in the way that it's been formatted. So I'm going to finish now and give my final thoughts. Maybe now, perhaps later. Everyone say congratulations because I finally finished. It really shouldn't have taken me that long because was a 133-page book, but still, here we are. Okay, it's time for my final thoughts and opinions. I finished last night at like 7 o'clock. I figured out that I really can't say anything. It's like if I say, it's so weird. This was a weird book because obviously it's short, but because it's short, the like peak of the plot and the falling action happens literally. It's like everything builds to this one point and then the falling action is 2 sentences. So it feels like you're right at the climax of the book and then it just ends. So I really can't say things about the plot because it's like that point where everything makes sense. I don't know. It's just weird. I'm just going to give my final like little and then tell you whether or not you should read it. So chapter 7 through 10. I literally described it last night. I said mostly the ending. This book is like when a DJ is building to a drop and then fakes out the entire audience. That's what reading this was like. So at the end of it, now knowing this, I would say go back and read this and go in under the assumption that both Kathleen and Virgil are unreliable perspectives to see things from, and neither one is a match for the other. So read it like that. And then also something that's really important to note, and that definitely makes sense at the end of the plot, is one thing that the author really relies on you to make this book work. And it was really smart. It's to lean into red herrings based on assumptions about women that make you automatically think that there's something wrong with Kathleen and that she's going into the pool because of some bout of madness that is happening and not because she wants to. She wants to. It is a choice. She has a point. It's just that we get that revealed to us at the very, very end. Can't read that point because it kind of gives some things away. So moving into kind of like my overall things, if I were to kind of overall describe this book, it's about a man who hates himself for not being able to become the man that he wants to be. And it's about a woman who hates herself for letting the woman that she could have been slip away from her. That's kind of the main premise, main theme going throughout it. And also the atmosphere of this book is very still. There isn't a lot happening. I know it's ironic because she does get into a pool, but if you were to describe it visually, it's very much so like that still, calm day, no wind, like water. That's kind of the atmosphere of the book. I'm probably only getting that picture because it takes place in a pool, but my point still stands. Should you read The Most by Jessica Anthony? If you're not somebody who likes ambiguous endings, then no. Because when the book ended, I was confused. And I'm still wishing I got more concrete answers about things. But because those kind of vague open endings aren't super bad for me, I still really liked it. But if you are not a fan of vague, open-ended endings, I would not recommend this for you. But if you're looking for something that's quick, easy to read, well written, and interesting, then I would definitely give this a go. I feel like the twists in the plot were not sharp, but they weren't meant to be because the twist at the end was meant to be kind of the sharpest point of the story. Also, I will say that this book, like the literal physical book itself, I really like how it's printed. I'm a fan of the cover and the slight 3D effect that it has going with the text. I like the texture of it, and the paper for the book itself is so nice. It's super thick. Like, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's really nice paper in here. So that's definitely a side note. It's just a good, whoever was in charge of printing and designing this, hats off to you because I love the weight and just all of the different elements of this book. But yes, that is my answer. Should you read The Most by Jessica Anthony? Honestly, I'd give it a try, but it's not the book that you're expecting it to be.